Welcome everybody to Eco Physiotherapy Presents Health, Wellness and Lifestyle. My name is Madeline Golick and I'm the owner of Eco Physiotherapy as well as the pelvic floor physiotherapist. And my guest today is Rachel Gray. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited that we had this opportunity to have this talk because I think our topic is pretty interesting and there's lots of people that are interested in it. But before we let the audience know what that's all about, maybe you could tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. So much to tell. So not really. I am a mom. I'm a mom of two girls. So my girls are 4 and 21 months, although I feel like with my youngest, I've been calling her like 20 months for like 4 months.
Yeah,
so she continues to grow. But I'm a mom. I'm the owner of Moga, Moga Oakville. So I really combining just all the things that I'm living my life. I'm in the thick of it. You know, you're a mom and bringing that to moms all over Oakville and Milton and Burlington. So just combining passion with personal.
That's amazing. So I guess probably the best thing is, so Moga Oakville, what is that?
So Moga it's pretty, you can see what it stands for, yoga, mom and baby yoga, and sort of the whole umbrella of working with moms and creating a community under and having yoga be sort of the basis, fitness, sort of what we are trying to create as a community for moms and having moms get out in the community and feel good and feel like they have, friends to communicate with and yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah. I didn't actually know that Moga was for like mom and yoga. So that's now I kind of clued it. I didn't clue it. I just thought like that was just a name.
Oh, good. Okay.
I didn't even realize
Connect
it was
the
like,
two?
I didn't connect. Well, I put like, what is Moga yoga? And now that I think about it, it's like, no, that's the same thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, so what, you're working with moms.
Yes.
And you're seeing moms coming in postpartum. What are some of the common areas that you find women have like weaknesses around or things that they really sort of need to look for when they're starting yoga? How do you sort of take those things into consideration?
I mean, it's all so individualized, which is a good thing in terms of being able to see different mums and be able to customize something that's unique to them, staying in sort of a small group setting. But there are the areas that are most common to everyone, abdominals being the most common, so as our tummies grow, our beautiful tummies grow, that muscle loss and muscle degradation is just something that happens naturally. So just starting to build that back safely. Glutes is another area that I find a lot of mums complain about in terms of just, I don't feel strong, I don't feel like I'm using my core and my glute muscles when I'm standing up and when I'm picking up my baby, which can, lead to issues down the road in terms of lower back or picking up using your back and injuries and that sort of thing. So glutes, abs, but I mean, we could go the full spectrum, arms, legs, wrists, ankles. It's like the whole gamut. We can feel quite weak after having our babies. So.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, especially as a first-time mom, sometimes we feel a little apprehensive about exactly how much, we're able to move around, and so we tend to slow down usually in the 3rd trimester anyways because, things get a little bit harder to get around, but the muscles, aren't being used to the same extent, but the demands are still there for the muscles, so that's where pain and other issues can develop.
Absolutely.
But it's important, I think, and I'm sure you stress that we're not having new moms rushing.
Exactly.
Right?
You hit the nail on the head.
It's really important that it's like just like with any muscle, if you overuse it, you're going to be sore, that you might have some injury if you're not careful, and it's important not to go like full tilt.
Yes.
When you first come back.
And sometimes you feel like you want to go full tilt. I mean, baby is in our arms, they're here, they're in the world, and it's like, okay, like I should be able to, be doing things that I was doing before I got pregnant, but that takes time, and having someone that, understands that, is empathetic to that, and the fact that it took, 10 months to grow them, it's going to take potentially 10 months to get back to where you were. And a lot of mums, will want to get back into a fitness regime and, maybe go and just do a yoga class or, a Pilates class, which is so amazing and so great. But you want to make sure that you have someone that understands what you've been through and sort of can have that one-on-one time with you to know where your specific weakness is. Otherwise, we don't want to have, an injury or
absolutely
regress back and have things be more challenging long term. So I do find that sometimes as well.
Yeah, and I think it's sort of important to say that, for and I'm sure you would totally agree with this, that, moms who are thinking about getting into fitness or like mom and baby class, to make sure like that the person that they're working with has some knowledge around, postpartum and some of those issues that they might be encountering, right? Because you're going to be more aware and we'll be able to guide them and modify as needed, right?
Absolutely. Having, that background and having the knowledge, and you can just, always pull out of your back pocket at a moment's notice, because you may have, a lesson plan going into a first class with, 6 or 7 mums. You have an idea in the back of your head what you'd like to do. You know the common areas of weakness, abdomen and glutes. But once you, meet the mums and they're saying, I really am having, issues with my shoulders, or my shoulder blades feel, I'm having a lot of discomfort there. You have to be able to sort of think on the fly and be able to offer modifications that would be suited specifically for them. But I love that.
It keeps it interesting.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to ask you, how does, because we were sort of talking about this before, but how does mobility and movement help improve strength? Like, is yoga all strengthening, or?
Definitely not. So it's sort of, again, it's going to taking a more holistic approach to address all parts of the body, not just focusing on strength building. Obviously, that's a huge part, especially when we're talking about abdomen, because the core is the center for everything that we do. Even when you don't feel, obviously, you know better than anyone, when you don't feel like you're using your core, you are, in all of our movements of what we're doing.
Absolutely.
So, some mums are experiencing, a lack of flexibility, that, they've really just sort of seized up and they feel like they're not quite as mobile as they were before. So just slowly taking the time to get back to where we were, where your body is feeling comfortable, building that strength over time safely, especially with the deep core stabilizing muscles, is going to just help overall. Yes, it's going to make us feel better. We're going to feel, start to feel better in our clothes, but even more importantly, that just picking up. It's amazing how much mums talk about, like, I don't even feel sometimes like I can pick up my own baby. I feel like I'm going to, throw out my back. I have no core strength. And it's like, don't stress.
Yeah,
we will get there.
Yep.
Just don't put too much pressure on yourself. It's so you've got pressure coming from everywhere else. Don't let it be from you. And I just sometimes need to be a reminder of that.
Absolutely. And you're right. Just even practicing movement, really, they're those muscles are working, right?
Yes.
And that might be the appropriate amount of load for you at that time, right? And then that allows you then to build. It's like, remember, your diaphragm hasn't been moving very well for 10 months, right? And so sometimes the diaphragm muscle in and of itself kind of gets stuck.
Right.
And if it doesn't move, then your abdominal wall doesn't go through its full range of motion, which can affect how your core activates. So even starting off with simple things like breathing can be so huge. Important. And I think, we think of breathing, like, how is that going to help my core? But it's kind of the thing that kickstarts the core, right?
Yes.
And so sometimes we have to think about proper loading and then, get back into proper breathing, and then that helps the core muscles start kicking on, right?
Well, it's amazing because you say breathing, and breathing is something we all do. It comes naturally, but when you're going about your day, you're much more likely to start that really shallow belly breath, and we're not engaging the core almost at all. So just teaching moms that proper breathing into their ribs, stopping that belly breath, and over time training them to have it not be such a conscious thing. It starts to just be, like an innate thing that they're able to do without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and I like that, that's a part of yoga, right?
Yes.
Is learning to breathe, because, I'll see clients and they're really in the belly, and what they don't realize is sometimes when they breathe so deeply into their belly that they're actually pushing down through their pelvic floor.
Right.
Which is another core of muscle, right? And of course those muscles have gone through an event, and they need to come back online as well. So we need to remember that that's part of the core as well.
Absolutely.
And so our breathing impacts the movement of the pelvic floor muscles, and therefore the rest of the core muscle activation.
Yes.
So we need to look at it like holistically.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And combining, so Moga, like I mentioned, so mom and baby yoga, the prenatal element of it as well. My background is, prior to Moga, has been as a stock Pilates instructor. So combining that Pilates element with yoga has been so beneficial for mums post-baby. So, I mean, obviously I can't say enough about it, but it's been a game changer for me. And when something has affected you so personally,
Yes.
it's just so, you just want to like scream it from the rooftops. And just
share it with the world. And,
Yes.
and you must have read my next question, because I was going to, ask about, why Pilates and why yoga are like game changers for women postpartum. Like,
yeah.
maybe you can elaborate a little bit more, maybe from your personal experience of like how it really benefited you.
Totally. So like I mentioned, so I have 2 daughters, and I had been practicing, Pilates for years. But having my daughters, and I had quite a long recovery with my first daughter, and having that, I know, without question, having that background to fall back on, to start focusing on pelvic floor healing and bringing those muscles back, engaging my core properly has, it completely changed the game to how I could completely have anticipated it going had I not had that experience.
Yes.
Which is why I think prenatal is such an important piece of the puzzle, because it's not just, you're not just reacting to something, you're learning prior to even, getting into where you want to start recovery.
Responding, and that's sort of something I've noticed personally in my treatment, like of women postpartum, is they'll oftentimes say to me like, I wish I had known sooner, or I wish I could have done something sooner. So I've been working really hard to actually work in the prenatal population to get the education out, and also train them proper breathing. Because that can aid in labor and delivery, never mind, the benefits postpartum, like how do you engage your pelvic floor? How do you relax your pelvic floor? How do you take care of your abs in the early postpartum? Having that information in advance, helps, because just like you having the background information, I had the background information for myself after my daughter. So I knew what I was practicing leading up to labor and delivery, and I knew what to do right after delivery to get my pelvic floor back online, to get my muscles and all that coordination back online.
Yes.
I knew what to do, but there's so many women that don't know.
Yes.
And it's like, I just want to share with everybody,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And especially in that prenatal phase, because, at least even if things don't go the way that we plan with our births,
Of course.
we feel like we've been an active participant in our journey, rather than just sort of reacting to whatever comes down the line, right? And that can be very empowering.
Oh, absolutely. It's invaluable. So it's like, it's never too late, but if you could, get there before, it's like, it would be just such a game changer. And with regards to, so some mums, not many, because I mean, most people are like, I love yoga. I can't wait to be doing yoga with my baby. But some people are like, I don't love holding postures or holding poses for a long time.
Yes.
I do get that. And it's like, okay, don't worry, so like Pilates is a huge piece of the puzzle. So I love the element of combining Pilates movement with yoga holds. So combining, the strength, the power of a yoga hold, sitting deeply into, a deep squat and just feeling grounded down into the earth, and then changing the posture and moving into more of a movement, getting those muscles going, getting the blood flowing. It's just, it's really unique, and again,
and variety
too. Is the spice of life. Yes.
Yeah. So then you're kind of combining, postural stabilization in those poses and breath, and like really connecting with your body. But then you're also getting that movement element. And I always say to my clients, motion. Motion is lotion. Right?
Oh, I love that.
Lubricate your joints, right? Lubricate your body, and that's how we do that, is through movement, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So that's really nice to have a combination of both.
Good.
That kind of gives women the opportunity to have both sides of the coin.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to find out, what do you find really valuable for new moms, and for babies, for moms and babies to kind of get out of the house, community? Like, what have you seen in your experience?
So we, in addition to Moga, so Mom and Baby Yoga, we have something called Mom Corner. So, getting into a fitness regime right after, when our babies are under 1 isn't for everyone. So we can't just, we want to have something available for all mums, because the point is, like I was saying at the beginning, is to create that community, and a real community, feeling like you have, that safe place to fall. You have mums that are, in a similar place as you. You feel open, comfortable to be able to share. And I'm there sharing, so it's like, oh, she's talking about it. So like giving.
So I can talk about it.
So I can talk about it, having that permission. And we don't need permission. But it's good when someone else can sort of take the lead if you don't always feel comfortable sharing. I remember going to, having, especially my first daughter, going to a group, and it would be like, I was just dying to talk to someone. It was like, please, like, I just want to make friends and talk to someone.
Yeah.
So our Mom Corner piece invites experts every week into our space to talk about a whole variety of topics, whether it's holistic nutrition or pelvic floor physiotherapy.
Yes, I'm excited.
Yes, all of those things. And mums can just feel comfortable, have a glass of tea, have a cup of tea, have their babies there, connect with other mums, and getting out of the house, having that connection is so important. It can be very isolating.
Absolutely, because you feel like your whole day and activity is revolved around, being there for baby, that sometimes it's hard for finding time for yourself, depending on your spouse and their work schedules, and how much family you have around. You sort of feel like it's just like you and baby, and sometimes it's nice to just be able to talk to another person, rather than sort of, whether it's baby language or just feel like you're actually kind of having a conversation back and forth.
Yes, talking to an adult is everything. I don't know if I would have quite understood that factor or that piece before having my girls. Now it's like, I just need to talk to an adult.
Yeah.
Talk to me, please. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And it's always nice to be able to talk, to ask questions about oh, my baby did this, or, just kind of seeing where, not that we're comparing, because we want to make sure that we're not comparing to other moms, but being able to talk about, has anybody been through something like this? And, it's a place where, you can develop discussion and have some input, because it can be quite stressing too when, I remember my daughter went 4 or 5 days without going to the bathroom, and I was like, oh my God, when is she gonna have a bowel movement, and what's gonna happen, right? And so you get a little anxious, and you're flipping through books, and you're like, okay, should I be worried? Should I go to the doctor, right?
Yes.
And there might be other moms who have other tips and tricks that they've used, baby massage and those kinds of things that might aid in those situations. So that's why having that community, I think, is an important piece.
It's so important. I sometimes call it dating other mums, because it's like we're getting together, we're having tea, and we're just all feeling comfortable with one another and making new friends. So having that friendship piece can really make the difference in that first year, I think.
Yeah, that's great. Now I remember, so we were chatting about this last time we talked, and you were mentioning something about a movement in BC, and that you are bringing it here. It is here. What is it?
It's here.
Okay.
So Mamas for Mamas is the movement that we were talking about, and it is based out of, so I call it headquarters. It is in Kelowna, BC.
Okay.
And it was started by an incredible woman named Shannon Christensen, and she is a mom, and she just thought, she was feeling so blessed. We have so many things that we need for our children, and what could she do to sort of take the financial piece out of it to be able to pass these things along to people? Like, yes, you could probably, make the $2, the $5 here, but what if we just took the money off the table? Like, how much could that reduce the financial burden of motherhood?
Yes.
So she was just doing it out of her house for the longest time, and it just grew and grew and grew and truly is and has become a movement. So on our Facebook platform, it offers moms not just a sense of community, but also a real place where they can trade items, where no money ever exchanges hands. They can give items that they no longer need. So anything that you could possibly, think of, maternity clothes or, baby toys or diapers or formula, things that we really need that aren't always accessible to all.
Yes.
So we did open our chapter here in Burlington, Oakville, and in Mississauga, Brampton.
Oh, okay.
And it will be a year in November, but it has just completely taken off far beyond my wildest dreams, and just to be a part of that in something that obviously is so near and dear to my heart, and creating something for moms, a safe space for moms, has been amazing.
Yeah. So how can moms who might be interested in getting involved, how can they find out more about this?
So they can go to, if they're in our community, they can go on Facebook and just search Mamas for Mamas, any of the Ontario chapters. So like I said, Burlington, Oakville, Mississauga, Brampton. Just join and you will be accepted as a mom into the group, welcomed with open arms. To find out more about the nonprofit and the organization on a national scale, you can go to mamasformamas.ca, and you'll find all of the information that you need on there.
Amazing. Yeah, I think because I personally, when I moved in with my partner, I was pregnant at the time, and my neighbor had come over, and she was like, "Hey, I have some maternity clothes, like a couple pants and like a shirt," and and at that time I wasn't quite needing it, but I was thinking about what am I going to do when that time comes, and it was just amazing to have 2 to 3 pieces of pants that I could just kind of go through and not necessarily have to make that financial investment.
Yes.
And she let me use her stroller, which has been a lifesaver.
That's
right?
Amazing.
So the only thing I had to buy was the actual car seat clip-on, because I already had the seat for when she got bigger, and that was a huge help, right?
Yes.
And so I totally believe in that concept of if you have it, to be able to pass it along, right?
Yes.
Because you never know what impact that might make for somebody's journey in somebody's life, right?
Absolutely.
So I think it's a great idea, and so people should, check it out. And I wanted to mention to our viewers that if you're interested in the Mom's Corner, or if you're interested in Moga Oakville, or any of the information regarding that, we will be posting your contact details at the end of the show. It'll also be in the description if you're watching this on YouTube, so you can get in contact with Rachel and, learn more about her programs and all the, activities and how to get involved. And, I really want to thank you for coming out to share with us your experience and all the wonderful things that you're, bringing to the mom and baby community.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah.
Yes, it was great. Thank you.
You're welcome. And so hopefully you've enjoyed the show, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.